Hi everyone, welcome back to Code with Akshi. Today is day 10 of our Python for Beginner 2026 series. In today's video, we are going to learn about Python tuples. We will learn what a tuple is, how to create a tuple, how to access tuple items, and why tuples are immutable. And also we will learn how to create a tuple with one item and loop through a tuple and use useful tuple methods. So let's get started. First, let's understand what a tuple is. A tuple in a Python is a collection used to store multiple items in a single variable. So tuples are ordered, which means the items will have a specific order. They are immutable, which means once a tuple is created, we cannot change, add or remove its items. So tuple also allows duplicate values, and we can access each item using its index starting from 0. For example, here we have a tuple containing apple, banana, mango. Tuples are useful when we want to store the data that should remain constant. Now let's see how to create a tuple. A tuple is created by placing items inside a parenthesis and separating them with the commas. So for example, here we can create a tuple called fruits containing apple, banana and mango. When we print fruits, all three items are displayed. We can also create a tuple of numbers like 10, 20, 30, 40. Tuple items can be of different data types such as strings, numbers, floats and boolean values. So creating a tuple in Python is very simple. Next, let's learn how to access tuple items. Tuple items are ordered and indexed, and Python indexing starts from 0. Here, apple is at index 0. Banana is at index 1 and mango is at index 2 and the grapes is at the index 3. So fruits of 0 gives us apple and fruits of 1 gives us banana. So we can also use negative indexing. Fruits of negative ones gives us the last items, which is grapes. So and fruits of negative 2 gives us mango. So remember, positive indexing starts from the beginning while the negative indexing starts from the end. Now let's understand an important feature of tuples. Tuples are immutable. Immutable means that once a tuple is created, its items cannot be changed, added or removed. For example, here we have apple, banana and mango. If we try to change the item at index 1 from banana to orange, Python gives us a type error. So this is because tuple does not support the item assignments. So tuples are useful when we want our data to be remains unchanged. Okay, now let's learn how to create a tuple with only one item. So this is an important point to remember. If a tuple contains only one item, we must add a comma after that item. For example, apple followed by a comma creates a tuple. But if we write apple inside parentheses without a comma, then Python consider it as string, not a tuple. So remember, when creating a tuple with one item, always add a comma. Okay, now let's see how to loop through a tuple. We can use a for loop to go through each items in a tuple. Here we have tuple containing apple, banana, mango and grapes. We write for fruit in fruits and then print fruit. The loop takes each items one by one and prints it. So the output will be apple, then banana, mango and grapes. Using a for loop makes it easy to access every item in a tuple without using index numbers. Okay, now let's look at two useful tuple methods, that is count and index. The count method, it tells how many times a particular value appears in a tuple. For example, the number 2 appears 3 times in the tuple, so count of 2 returns 3. The index method tells us the position of the first occurrence of a value. For example, mango is at index 2. So index of mango returns 2. Remember, count tells how many times a value appears while the index tells us its positions. Now let's understand the tuple with a simple real life example. Imagine a store bill containing a bill number, date, a customer name, purchase items and total amount. So we can store all these details together in a tuple because they follow a fixed structure and order. We can then access each details using its index. For example, index 0 gives us the bill number, index 1 gives us the date and index 2 gives us the customer name. So this is one example of how tuple can be useful for storing the data in a fixed order. So great job. Let's quickly recap what we have learned today. A tuple is an ordered collection of items. Tuples are immutable, which means their items cannot be changed, added or removed after creation. And we learned how to create a tuple, access its item using indexes, create a tuple with one item and loop through a tuple. We also learned two useful methods, that is, one is count and then index. So that's all for day 10 of our Python beginner series. So if you found this video useful, helpful, and please like this video and subscribe to Code with Akshi. So keep practicing. I will see you in day 11. Happy coding, and this code is for you.